The Shelley Winter Show. Live, local, topical, and relevant, my friends. So, let me say this. A friend of mine texted me the other night after the show, and he said, "Hey, Shelley, you're increasingly sounding like a liberal." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, you seem to be more critical of Trump lately." And I said, "Oh, this is true. I'm not a liberal. I'm just critical of some of the things that I'm seeing." And so I said, the second part of what you said is true. The first part is not. Being critical of the person I voted for doesn't make me a liberal. It just makes me critical of things that I don't agree with, particularly since I voted for you and went hard in the paint for you. And there are things that are happening that I don't agree with, and I'm voicing my opinion. Many things I like. I like a lot of things. I like the border. I like things that are going on. I like the way you've maneuvered foreign policy-wise. I like the strength you've shown. All of these things. And I talk about those things as well. But you shouldn't be accused of, quote-unquote, becoming a liberal or, quote-unquote, becoming a liberal because you're critical of your side. That's it's short-sighted, right? I say all of that to say I believe that the most principled people in Congress right now, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Representative Thomas Massie, Senators Rand Paul and Senator Rand Paul and Senator John Fetterman. I believe that these four are the most principled, especially Paul and Massie. Fetterman he ran as a Democrat. We called him all kinds of names. We called him a socialist. We called him a Nepo baby, all these kind of things. We called him, and now he's just a senator voting on the things that he agrees with or disagrees with. I don't mind that. I think more senators on both sides should do that. I don't particularly want my elected officials in Congress just voting party line every single time. I think they should be independent. They should not be afraid of voting their conscience or voting for things that they don't agree with. I'll use a perfect example. Many of these, in the case of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Massie, and Paul, the Epstein list is where they got on the wrong side of the administration. I don't agree with that. If you don't want to release the list, don't release the list, but don't primary a guy who says release the list. Don't primary a guy who never votes for a budget because it's never balanced, who's been doing it his whole career. How's he a bad guy now? How's he a kook now? How's he a crackpot now? And what really concerns me are the number of Republicans who are turning on a Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're turning on her because she disagrees with some things going on. We're turning on Thomas Massie because he wants a balanced budget or he wants the Epstein list released. Donald Trump is backing a primary candidate against Thomas Massie. I really hope Thomas Massie blows him out. I really do. Because he doesn't deserve to be primaried. We're as a Republican voter, whether you live in his district or not, but we're in Georgia as patriots, right? As Republicans, not rhinos, as Republicans. Where do you see Thomas Massie? In what world is it okay to cheer for Thomas Massie being primaried? In what world do we live in? In what world does Rand Paul not get invited to a senator's dinner at the White House because he won't vote for the budget? That's not being balanced. In what world do we cheer for that? Listen, the way they take advantage, I'm not saying this is not about Trump or Republicans. It's about everybody, about every single politician out there. The way they're able to take advantage of us is when we fall in love, right? Think about it as a relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you are head over heels, I mean just head over heels, the Cupid struck you down with his love arrow, but the other person kind of doesn't feel the same way as you. Do you know how easy it is for that person to take advantage of you? Because you're in love with them. It's the same thing here. Oh, I love Donald Trump. He's the man. I love him. He can do no wrong. Well, then when you disagree, you can't say anything because he can do no wrong. I don't believe that about anybody. I'm with the beautiful woman. I don't agree with her on everything. Why would I agree with Donald Trump on everything? And why can't I say I disagree without being called a liberal? Well, where have we gotten to in our party or in our country? Because Democrats are doing the same thing. Where have we gotten to in our party and in the country to where you can't disagree with your own side? That's dangerous. It's dangerous. And I want to make an analogy here, but I'm not saying this is going to happen, okay? So please don't get it twisted. I'm just using this as an example, as an analogy. I watch a lot of World War II documentaries. And one of the things, I've been watching and reading books in World War II since I was a teenager, because I'm just fascinated by that time in history. And one of the things I've always been fascinated by was how regular people could have just done what the German citizens did and allowed to happen, and allowed to happen. And I'm not calling Trump Hitler. Don't jump up and down and change the station or something. But I'm making the point. I always wondered how could they have let this happen? And you know why they let this happen? It's because they liked or loved Hitler so much. He had brought Germany back from the brink. He had rebuilt the economy. He brought pride back to Germany. So they loved him. And so the things that he was doing, or the things that he proposed, and the things that they started doing, they just said, oh, it must be good because he's doing it. And I kind of feel like many on our side are in that same position. I talked about the other night, we went to rallies. I went to rallies and I listened to the president tell me that we're going to cut foreign aid. We're going to bring that money home. We're going to be America first. And I cheered. I was standing next to thousands of people who cheered. Yay. And then when we send $80 billion to Argentina, we come up with excuses as to why that's a good idea. Why is it good? If it was bad during the election, it's bad now. And you could come up with the reasons why we need to do it. That's fine. I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm just saying, if it was bad then, why isn't it bad now? Oh, well, because we need to keep them from China. Well, then we need to keep everybody from China. Do we give everybody $80 billion? But the point is not the $80 billion. The point is the foreign aid. We were against that as a party. Many people on our side, many radio talking heads said, hey, we can't just be isolationists. Isolationists. That's what I heard them say. And many of us argued, no, America first, America first. And then now we're all defending, or many of us are defending $80 billion to Argentina. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we doing this? And when this happens, it's too easy to be led astray. It's too easy to go down a road where you're allowing things to happen that you don't agree with, but you agree with the person doing it. Democrats are doing the same thing. I just talked about it earlier in the show with this Maine candidate for Senate candidate in Maine about Nazi symbolism. They attacked Hegseth. They made up Elon Musk as a Nazi because he threw his hand out there and he called it a Heil Hitler signal. And now he's a Nazi. And the left jumped up and down, and now they're just saying, oh, well, it's just a skull and bones. When you do that on both sides, it becomes extremely dangerous because the people that you're in love with, whether it's the Democrats or Trump or the Republicans or whatever, they are able to take advantage of you. And at some point, those of you who get so mad at me and call me names for disagreeing with Trump, with the president and this administration or the Republicans as a whole on some policy, and I share my opinion, you will realize, wow, Shelley was right. You'll realize that, but you won't admit it to yourself. What you will do Much like the Democrats who love Trump and now hate Trump, you'll say later on, oh, I didn't agree with that. I told all my friends that was wrong. The Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.